Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. So after starting off the first few sessions of our speedy co-production series with internal DRUK speakers, we're really pleased to welcome external speakers for the next few weeks to talk about co-production in practice. So today we will be welcoming Helen Allen, Operations Manager at Community Catalyst, who will be hosting today's webinar. So Community Catalysts are a small collective of highly skilled professionals with experience in people-led social care and health. They see the world differently, celebrating the strengths of people and community, and they know how to help local people to help other local people. Helen will be telling you about the work that Community Catalysts do in the community, supporting people to become active, and how they ensure that co-production is a central part of their work. Just to tell you a little bit more about us to get us started whilst people are joining. Disability Rights UK is a user-led pan-disability charity. We exist to build leadership and power amongst disabled people to create a movement for change. Our charitable objectives include breaking the link between disability and poverty and enabling disabled people to achieve independence and control over their own lives. The majority of our staff and trustees also have lived experience of disability. And Get Yourself Active, who's running these webinar series, is a programme funded by Sport England and led by Disability Rights UK. We work alongside disabled people to lead change in the social care, health and sports sectors in order to improve health and wellbeing outcomes for disabled people. Co-production is a really important part of the work we do, and we are working closely with other disabled people's user-led organisations and the sports sector to embed co-production in practice, ensuring that the sports sector works effectively with disabled people to co-produce solutions to inactivity. The webinar today is just one of many topics we are covering. We are hosting a number of short webinars once a week covering a range of important topics, all to do with co-production. The aim of these sessions is to support more organisations in both the sports sector and disability sector to understand the basics of co-production, as well as sharing good practice on effectively embedding co-production in practice. So we are also recording all of these sessions and uploading them onto our website. Feel free to visit our website and view the timetable for the webinars and to watch recorded sessions after they are live. Just to let you know, as this is only a short session, we will not be doing any Q&A today. However, feel free to email me if you do have any questions and we can get back to you after the session. I'll add my email address to the chat and we will hopefully be having a separate Q&A session towards the end of July, start of August, that you'll be able to book onto. I'm going to stop talking now and I will pass over to Helen to begin the session. So over to you, Helen.
Lovely, thanks Liddy. Hi everybody, really nice to be here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Community Catalyst, what we do, about working with people and communities, a tad on co-production, and then the bit that will bring it to life is some stories of some of the great entrepreneurs that we work with that work in a real co-productive way, and hopefully just to give you guys different ideas. So next slide, Liddy. Oh, I'm on the same slide.
Is it this one you want? Sorry, Alan.
Oh, I can only see the first one. The first slide. I don't know what everybody else can see. It hasn't changed.
Oh, and then I'll try again. 1 second. Sorry, everyone.
I think that might, okay, that's it, there we go.
Apologies.
So that's all right. We're a little panic then, everybody. I don't like technology. So Community Catalyst, we're a social enterprise and community interest company established 10 years ago now. We work all across the UK, mainly with local councils, health trusts, but we do an awful lot with community groups, provider organisations as well. We believe in social innovation, we're quite funky and creative. We come from a care and health background, but we believe that people who want to get a good life, their needs don't fit neatly into those boxes. So we kind of, we're innovators, we like to see ourselves as. When we work with councils and organisations, we nurture what works and we challenge what doesn't, and we find different alternatives. Usually I go around the country on trains, planes and automobiles, and the bit that makes me get out of bed in the morning is because we harness the assets and imaginations of people and communities. Their whole aim is to make sure that people, wherever they live, have a real choice of great services and supports. So we do many things. Have a look at our website. But the core function of what we do is working with people locally who've got great ideas to run little enterprises that people with disabilities or older people can join in with. We also recognise that people with disability have loads of assets, strengths to do great things themselves. So we call these people, next slide, Liddy, community micro enterprises. There we go. And it's local people providing support and services to other local people. They work on a very small scale. So the micro bit means that they've got 8 or fewer workers. Then they operate on a continuum of voluntary through to commercial and anything in between, including sole traders. They might be established entrepreneurs or someone new with a good idea. Sometimes we work with people who come from a care background who want to offer support to people. Quite often we work with people who've got a passion for, and loads of people who are in the world of sport and activity. So it might be yoga, it might be Pilates, it might be dance, and these are some of the examples we'll come into. And we can support them to bring what they do to people with a disability. And our advice is all about how they keep themselves safe and the people that they're supporting as well. Okay, Liddy? So they do all sorts of things, these community micro enterprises, helping people, but the key factors, they're personal, and they offer tailored support. Quite often they might only have 2, 3, 4 customers, or they might be supporting a group of people, perhaps with a disability, to engage with sport in various ways with volunteers. But they're rooted in communities, so they very much live in the areas where they're operating, so they really stay with people. Because they're small and tiny, we really do see that they can co-produce services with their customers. We can start with pretty much a blank slate and offer taster sessions for people with a disability to engage with the enterprises and work out together what it is that they could do to help people. They're flexible and responsive, again, because they're so small, and they offer this choice to people to live the lives that they want. They help people to link with their community, and very much, like I mentioned, they're built on the passion of the entrepreneur. Many of them come from that sports background. Because they're small, we don't talk about growth like some kind of business support organisations. People with a disability who might not feel the urge to run a big business, I'm not sure I would, but actually to say, have a go, just look at what you're good at and what could you do. Community micro enterprise is a really great way for people to do that. Okay, next slide, Liddy. So, like I say, these community enterprises can, we think, work in real co-productive ways, in 3 ways, really. They can harness the power of informal networks. So in small communities, they may meet with lots of people who want to do something together, and they come together. That might be a local pub that wants to bring in people to actually start, I don't know, delivering pub meals to people in their community. It's informal, people, it's not a structured thing. Co-production also is a way of creating opportunities for people to shape services. So some of those entrepreneurs, like I say, they can really tailor what they do by listening to people and shaping the services to what they want. And one of the great ways that we see it is also enabling people with a disability to be equal partners in the design and delivery of the service. And that's real co-production, where the people that we are supporting really are equal in the way. And co-production is very much different to consultation. Co-production is very much about having that blank page and starting and listening to people, really listening to people about what it is that they want and what it is they can do. So to bring it to life a little bit, I'll give you a couple of examples. Next slide, Liddy. And if you look on our website, we've got lots of examples. We've also got a website called Small Good Stuff. If you have a look on there, there's loads of examples of all the enterprises. The ones that I'm going to talk to you about today, obviously, are those that are helping people to get active. So Funky Fitness and Fun was one of the first enterprises that we worked with in Oldham. So Carita came from a care background, but her passion was fitness and healthy eating and what have you. And she wanted a way to bring people together with a learning disability. But to be fair, it's, again, not putting people into boxes. It's people with mental health issues as well and physical disabilities. And she wanted to bring people together, one, to make friendships as an alternative to day opportunities, day services that were run by the council, and to really bring her passion of fitness to people, where perhaps those folks would feel a little bit worried about walking through the doors to a gym. I know I do, and I know I really need to at the minute. So it was a real safe, fun environment to support people. So she engaged a aerobics tutor who came every week to the session. So they always did the aerobic activity, but then she would ask the members who came along what it is that they wanted to do, and then she would bring that in to subsequent sessions. So she's done all sorts, from Elvis dancing, cheerleading, yoga, Pilates, all sorts of things, as well as bringing different foods in for people to try. And what they became aware of was that the people with a disability really understood, really took on board some of the ways that they were instructed to get fit and what have you, and had some real skills in that. So she had a small group of people who, with her support, then went out into older people's residential care, and the people with learning disability and Carita then co-delivered sessions for older people, seated exercise and what have you, which was fantastic. So I think, she started in one way, and then just listening to the members and recognising what they could do, really harnessed that, and then took that out to older people. Okay, next slide, Liddy. Now Nora, she runs Involve Wellness. She has a family member with autism, and she would go when he was younger to different sessions that were out there in the community for people about getting fit, but it was tricky for her and her son to really engage in that session. So she developed some herself. So she does Boxercise, which is very much aimed at a person with a disability and their carer. And again, this can be on a one-to-one basis or in really, really small groups. We supported Nora in Birmingham, and there we've worked with people with a learning disability who currently go to a day centre, and Nora's run taster sessions for them to come out and just have a go and engage with what she does, and then take feedback and really listen about what would work in the future and what wouldn't work. Unfortunately, the future was hit by COVID, so that all stopped. But what we've created is something called the Buzz, and they're virtual videos that our guys are putting on. And if you have a look at the Buzz on Small Good Stuff, you'll see lots of videos of these entrepreneurs delivering sessions for people that they can join in with at home. So she's always listening, she's always developing, and again, making sure that what she's doing really hits hits the mark for people with a disability. Okay, Liddy? And the third bullet point on what is co-production, again, looking at equal partners, we really do see that that is enabling people to be equal partners, so that how do we shift the balance of people with a disability of engaging and actually leading? We want people to be able to lead sessions as well, particularly in the care and support world. Quite often the skills and assets of disabled people can be overlooked. We have assessments and all sorts of things like that, and actually they don't look at the what people can do, the assets and what they're able to do. And if we get it right, there's some, we really see that there's some amazing outcomes for people. So the next slide, Liddy. So Emily, she runs Dance for You. She's also an enterprise in Birmingham. And during COVID, just before COVID, she went abroad to Australia, and then she couldn't get back again. So she's been over in Australia, and she was doing some videos for us for the Buzz. But she also recognised that some people might, on a one-to-one basis, want an interactive way to keep fit at home. So that's what she started to do. Now she's linked with a chap who has a disability. He has a physical disability, and he's really into cheerleading. and they've co-produced, if you have a look at, like I say, the buzz, and see how they've done this together with some support from our video techie person. So they've been in 2 separate places, and the chap has told her about a cheerleading routine, and he's doing it in a step-by-step process. Now, for us as listening to that would be really quite difficult to envisage it. So what he said, Emily has done the moves for, and they've done a whole cheerleading routine, which again is based on what the chap thinks. He's absolutely delivering it, and she's dancing it. So I think it's just a really good example of, it's anything is possible, really. And I think the tech has absolutely brought that to life. So people can engage with that video and again really get into fitness. And I think we just need to think about fitness and wellbeing in so many creative ways. I wouldn't walk through the doors of a gym, and maybe other people wouldn't either. I'm not sure I'd do a cheerleading session either, but I might do a boxercise. So if we can just think about all the varied ways, and people may not be able to engage in everything, but actually, there's always some parts of getting active that people can engage with. The cheerleading routine that Emily's done, that has been co-delivered with this chap, she's done as a seated exercise. So again, it's finding ways to really include people and involve them. Okay, next slide, Liddy. So Gary is a chap, he lives in Somerset. He has cerebral palsy, and from a young age he always wanted to, he likes strongman competitions, and he was a real fan of these. And there were no disability strongman competitions in the UK, but there were in Iceland. And he went to Iceland, really got into it, and he brought the idea and the concept to the UK. He held his first competition some years ago, and he's delivered 5 championships now. His last event had 350 people attending, and I think there were about 20 people with a disability who were engaging in the strongman competition. Which I think is just brilliant. He had the vision, he had the passion, and nothing was going to stop him. He had the people from Iceland come over and referee some of his first strongman competitions. So he's hoping to keep delivering these and actually have thousands of people attend, which fingers crossed he will. In the meantime, he's also a coach for athletes with a disability as well, and he gives motivational talks. And the last slide, Liddy. So another lady who is absolutely passionate about fitness is a lady called Jen Blackwell. She's the lady in black on the left-hand side there. She has Down syndrome, and we engaged with Jen when we ran a project in Oldham, and her mum and some support workers who absolutely wanted to facilitate Jen's passion to not only go to dance workshops, but to be a dance leader. She didn't want to just attend the workshops, she wanted to lead them. There were no facilities to teach people with a disability to be dance leaders, so they created something themselves called Down syndrome. And my word, it's grown over the past few years. They're a charity now, operating mainly across the Northwest, and they link with people, dance leaders with a disability and dance leaders without a disability, and they co-deliver and co-produce dance sessions that people with a disability can get involved in. The great thing is, if those people come into those workshops, have a passion and a skill for dance, they then can become a dance leader. And they do some amazing dance. So they do workshops, but they've been to Edinburgh Festival and done stuff there. Jen's won awards for being Businesswoman of the Year. They're absolutely, if you have a look at their website, they will give you absolute goosebumps in terms of the passion and the skill of what they offer, contemporary dance and all sorts, street dance. So the great thing is, we've asked Jen and some of the dance leaders to run a session themselves with Disability Rights UK to bring this to life, because it's really easy for me to talk about it, but it's much better if people can see it with their own eyes. So Lydia will tell you a little bit about that when that is on the next in a minute. So last slide, Lydia. So the joy of co-production, the potential is great. Yeah, there are so many ways for people to work together to design, create and deliver activity projects, services, supports. There really is no one way of bringing it to life. Each way will lead somewhere great. And I think it's thinking about doing things in, you know, in small steps to make a great outcome. And if we get it right, it's good for people, providers of all sizes. You know, we work with those at the tiny end, but it's great for everybody, for communities and good for society too. That's me done. Thank you. Over to you, Liddy.
Thank you, Helen. That was a really interesting session, and it was really good to hear about the work that community catalysts do in the community and the role that co-production has to play. I hope everyone enjoyed the session and it helped to cement some of the learning from previous webinars. Make sure you go onto our website to book on to any future webinars. As Helen mentioned, we'll be welcoming Dance Syndrome, and they'll be hosting a webinar next Thursday at 11 AM. So if you go onto our website and click on the stories section, it will bring you to, there's a story called Speedy Co-Production Sessions. And if you click on there, we've got all the past webinars and also future ones you can book onto. So we are still also looking for organisations that have some examples of good practice in co-production approaches or case studies so that we can demonstrate co-production in practice. If you do have any examples that you would like to share or know any organisations that do, please let me know by email. This will be really useful. And when you exit, you should be sent to a page with a quick survey to complete. So if you could take 2 minutes to complete this, we'll be really grateful, as it's going to be useful for developing and rolling out our co-production training in the future. And if you've done these surveys for previous webinars, please can you do one for today's session as well, as we're sort of evaluating each individual webinar. So thanks again, everyone, for coming, and thanks, Helen. And we hope to see you next week to welcome Dance Syndrome. Thank you, everyone.
Lovely. Thank you.